find that so unrealistic. Anytime I'm watching like an interview, listening to an interview, and the author's like, I wake up at 5 a.m., I have my coffee and a run, and then I sit down to write all day. I'm like, okay.
Yeah. Well, the
Do
people with
you?
full-time jobs who are like, I get up at 4 and I write between 5 and
Mm.
6, and then I get the kids ready for school. It's like, oh my, I just would be killing people. Like there's not enough coffee in the world. Amy and is a podcast that explores all kinds of bookish things, and that can include some pretty adult content. So please be aware that some of this content will be not safe for work or for young ears, and be careful who's listening when you are. Welcome back to Amy and. I'm Amy Matthews, and I'm here today with Justina Ashman.
Hello.
And Abby Guy.
Hi.
And we are meeting, as always, on Tantania, Adelaide, Ghana country, and it is wintry and freezing and stormy and all kinds of nasty outside, but it's really lovely in here to be chatting to you guys. And we have the great pleasure today of having Alison Evans, the author of our book of the month, Ida. And we're going to be talking to Alison about their work and about queer sci-fi and all the choices you make when writing and a writer's journey and all the fun things we like to talk about with writers. Would either of you like to read Alison's bio or introduce them to everyone?
So Alison Evans is the award-winning author of the queer YA books Ida, Highway Bodies, and Euphoria Kids. Alison is a contributor in Kindred, 12 queer Love Oz YA stories, Hometown Haunts, a horror Love Oz YA anthology, co-edits the zine Concrete Queers, and is a fiction editor of NB Life. They are based on Wurundjeri land. And I just wanted to say that there's more anthologies and things than is mentioned in that very short bio. I feel
like they're very prolific. Very prolific writer. And also such a sense of Melbourne in this book as well. I don't know if we'll have time to talk about that, but we can talk about that in book club because I felt the sense of place was like really strong in this one. So how would we describe the book, guys?
I can read the blurb.
Yeah, that's a good start. You can annotate it, like you can abbreviate it if you want because it's quite long.
The blurb begins with, how do people decide on a path and find the drive to pursue what they want? Ida struggles more than other 20-somethings to work this out. She can shift between parallel universes, allowing her to follow alternative paths. One day, Ida sees a shadowy see-through doppelganger of herself on the train. She starts to wonder if she's actually in control of her ability and whether there are effects far beyond what she's considered. How can she know anyway whether one universe is ultimately better than another? And what if the continual shifting causes her to lose what is most important to her, just as she's discovering what that is, and she can never find her way back?
Beautiful.
I feel like the blurb doesn't do justice to what is going on in the book, though.
No, it's like, I would say, kind of a genre blend, because I feel like it's got this beautiful kind of realist domestic relationship angle and then sci-fi, but also bordering a little bit into fantasy for me, like speculative fantasy, and then a little bit of horror too, I think. Like not really bad horror, but it's a little bit unsettling and uncanny and like early horror for me. So it kind of blends a lot of things and it does them in a really sophisticated way. So I'm super looking forward to talking to Alison, and join me in welcoming Alison Evans. I have to say, I haven't read sci-fi for a very long time. And probably a lot of the sci-fi I have read is queer, but this is a very unique book. Alison, when Justina recommended it, I was like, oh, that looks really cool. And then I started and I was like, oh, this is really cool.
Nice.
And yeah, so I was wondering if you could tell us about the origin story, because I saw in the acknowledgements it started out as a film script.
Well, the very first inklings of this came about when in physics class in year 12, when we watched a video about like the 13 different dimensions. And kind of the thing that interested me the most was like the idea that there are an infinite amount of universes or dimensions or whatever, because when you make a decision, a new universe is formed. And that kind of just stuck in my mind. And then in uni, I was doing a film unit and I needed to make a story. And I was like, oh God, I have to workshop next week. What am I going to write about? And I decided to write about that because what happened was just when I was at work one day, I finished work and I got in my car and then I forgot that I had to like get changed because I was going somewhere after work. So I left like a few minutes after I would have. And then when I was driving, I came across a car crash and I was like, oh my God, what if I didn't go inside and get changed? Maybe things would have been different. And so I thought that was a really interesting thing. Like, what if you did know what would happen and then you could just go back and change something else? So that's where it came from. I actually don't really remember what happened in the script. I actually think the script was like the whole book, but only 15 minutes. So not everything happened, but the same arc was in the script.
I didn't realize it originated as a script because I remember reading it and thinking, wow, I feel like this would make such a good like movie or TV show. Like there were moments that felt quite cinematic, especially when the doubles start appearing. That's fascinating that it started sort of in that visual mode and then was translated into a novel.
The thing I loved was you don't often see time travel stories which deal with every day in the way that you deal with them. Like the way that she often chooses to travel because of quite small things. But they are the things, like if you had that ability, they're often the things where you're like, oh, I need to do that. Like I totally need to go back to before I threw that mug of tea or before I upset that person or before I made that kind of slightly embarrassing mistake. But then there's the big ones too. Like you mentioned the car crash, that's right at the beginning of the book where she saves her own life by wishing herself back in time a little bit. But often they're quite small moments in time. They're like transporting back 5 minutes, 10 minutes, an hour a day. And I was wondering what you guys all thought about that, because I think that felt quite revolutionary to me to not be, it's not all about saving the world and blowing up planets. It's actually about relationships and the intimate and the domestic and her relationship with Daisy as well.
I think the focus on those everyday details shows how there's like an impulse that's a running away, avoidant impulse at the heart of wanting to go back and change every tiny decision you make. And that this book explores how like there are consequences even on the everyday level, even if it's not like, oh, you went back and now you've accidentally like, destroyed the universe. It's like you've gone back, but the things that are personally important to you are affected by every tiny choice you make and then unmake.
I always found it extremely relatable anytime that Ida decides to go back in time or to go to a different decision or different parallel universe. Anyway, all questions the book is asking, but every time it's because of a conversation, like needing to change a moment in the conversation or an avoidance of a conversation as well. I'm like, that's when I would fall into the trap of constantly. No, I need to go back because I said something that I wish I hadn't said.
Which I think, because I haven't read it in 10 years. And I did kind of think, oh, should I read it for the podcast? And I was like, I cannot do that. But that's so interesting that they're all conversation based, because I think that feels very real to me, like who I am as a person, where like so often, like almost every time after I hang out with someone, I'm like, oh my God, why did I do that? Why did I say that? That was so silly. And I think I feel like the sci-fi that I like is very rooted in small things or just like about a very small cast of characters. There are so many choices that we make all the time. And I just thought it was really interesting to like really zone in on very small details.
The scene that keeps sticking with me is when they find the teapot and they just make a pot of tea and they go outside and lie there. And it's like, this is the value, right? This is like that moment early in the book is where you're kind of so invested in her and Daisy. And so when Daisy is ever at risk, it really matters. And I just keep thinking about the teapot and that moment of them lying, like her letting Daisy sleep and sitting there next to Daisy. And those choices that sometimes you, like you said, all of us probably, because we're all anxious writers, have those moments like, why did I say that? Like my mouth ran away with me. But if you erase those moments, you erase all those amazing things as well.
And I think you also erase like who you are. Like if you don't ever experience the consequences of your actions, like who are you?
So on that too, she's also really obsessed. I liked this too because I recognized this one with how do these people do these things? Like how does Frank do all this? And how does Daisy do this art? Like when they go to the art gallery and she's like looking at the paintings and she's just like, I just don't get it. And then also how do they have the energy and how do they have the inertia to kind of do these things?
Yeah, that was really because I've never really had that thought. I'm just like, but I'm always like, well, if I practice, I could do it. Like that gay Audacity TikTok. I'm like, that is me. Like,
Well, you're talking to Justina, who really feels like could win any fight, right? Like you can take on anyone.
Mm-hmm.
It's part of my law, I suppose, that I have a strong belief that I could beat anyone in a fight, and I, for reference, have never ever been in a fight. But if it were to happen, I would win.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I believe you. I
Yeah,
think
thank
you would
you.
definitely like. I would not be good in a fight.
Me neither. So you can take us on first and get your confidence up.
Yeah, exactly.
I feel like with this, we've done time travel with you to like go back to 10 years ago when you were writing and publishing a book. But on that, like publishing, because you've published quite a lot since then, you've published more books, more short stories. As you say, that you have the gay audacity, I feel, in a way that I absolutely adore. But like, how have you found that experience change from, 2017 Alison putting out Ida into the world for the first time versus, all of the successive things that you've put out since then?
Ooh, I don't know. It's very different after the first one, which I'm sure you like everyone says. Because, well, I guess I did have 2 novellas come out with a very, very small American press before Ida. So I have gotten a little taste. But Ida was the first one that was like in bookshops in Australia, and that was like, yeah, people I didn't know reading it. And now, I don't know, it all just felt so, I guess you don't know what to expect when the first book comes out. And so it's all very exciting. And you're like, wow, people are reading it. And now I'm like, oh my God, people are reading it. When I feel like I don't know, I do feel kind of in a similar way now because I haven't had a solo book come out for 6 years, which is feels like a big gap to me, even though it's not really, I guess, because my first 3 came out so close together. Whereas now I'm like, wow, if I put it out, will anyone know? Because I don't really go on social media as much anymore. And so I'm not as with it, I would say.
Yeah. I think it's changed to the point there's no single with it anymore. That's
True.
the thing I noticed.
Yes.
There's just so much segmentation that
Mhm.
you can never see something. So you're so in your bubble, and then you
Yeah.
go to a bookstore, you're like, oh, what are all these? Never seen any of these.
Yeah. Well, it's like BTS. This is relevant. But BTS were like the most popular band in the world, and I only like just heard about them like a few years ago, and I was like, how did I miss that? If like
Yeah.
70% of the world knows who they are, how did I not know? Like it was really eye-opening.
I think as well, once you get a track record like you have fans, right? Like Justina would buy everything that you ever wrote.
Cheers.
So the relationship's different, right? Like when you're a debut, you can just go, hi, here I am.
Yeah.
But then how has your relationship to writing changed in that period? Because like being a debut or having your first couple is very different. It's interesting. I was talking to another writer friend this morning who's had a long break, and it seems like that also is a pattern. That it's very hard to, we're in this neoliberal culture that expects you to produce like you're a book machine. But actually, that's not how art works, right? So I was just wondering about your process and how it's changed. And
well, I think that is very tied to capitalism because I think I'm 35 and now you're kind of thinking like, oh, I need a money career. Like I can't keep going working retail part-time forever because I can't afford to. And I think that idea of like putting a book out every year or every 2 years, it's like, well, if you expect that, then you have to pay people more. And I think the reality is that queer Australian YA is never gonna, produce a living wage. And I think like I don't mean that like, oh, the publishers are stingy. I mean like realistically.
Yeah.
Globally
Globally though, because I feel
globally, yeah.
I mean, I do feel like there's such originality and like Justina said, the filmic kind of nature of it. You kind of hope the world's changing a bit too, do you know? Like you just
Yes.
hope. I know it's not like you look at the depressing things happening, but then I look at my students and I can see a massive difference in the last 20 years. I don't know. I just feel like sometimes the stories rise up and I feel so
Yeah.
far with Ida. It's one of those books. Like it's just so interesting and original. Like the originality of it's blowing me away.
Thank
I mean,
you.
this is partly why I suggested it when we were discussing what books we wanted to look at this year, is because I think there's such a focus online, and it is, I think, coming from that neoliberal and capitalist impulse to constantly be on the newest, freshest thing.
Yeah, it's
Constantly
insane.
be on whatever is going viral, whatever is like in the moment, in the zeitgeist. But I just don't think that's how books work. And I think we should be enjoying the fact that we have such a long history of literature. And even though like 10 years ago in the scheme of that is not very long ago at all, I like that as a podcast, we're not constantly tied to whatever is just the newest thing. It's like, let's look at what...
And that is actually how word of mouth works. Like it's not that quick.
Yes.
Like it takes years and years and years to hand that book to everyone you know. Do you know what I mean? To be like, I'm buying that for you. I'm going to buy it again. Yeah, but I agree with you, Justina. I think it's a real shame. And I think that's in Australia, particularly, as you said, we're such a small market that you really rely on that word of mouth. So if the churn is so fast, you know, like if you're on a bookshelf for 10 days and then they pull you off, how are you ever supposed to find readers?
Well, I think like because I work as a children's bookseller, and so what's really great about that versus kind of a more general bookshop role that I have worked in, but I much prefer children's specialist because you are able to keep older books on the shelf, because if you have a whole shop, you can't just keep the new kids books because there won't be enough room. I mean, there'll be too much space, and you really have to have a depth and a breadth of knowledge. And I think that has been really good for like books like mine, where it's like it may be nine years old, but there are 5 Australian trans-authored YA books. I mean, I think there's a couple more than 5. It's under 10, you know, and so I think that kind of gives me a unique position where my books have had a very long shelf life, which is, I think, really unique, and I feel very lucky because it means that they're kind of still going, whereas I feel like so many authors, you get your 3 months on the bookshop shelf and then you're just done. And it's not because they're not good, it's just because everyone is looking for the next new thing.
Yeah.
Which is just, it's really, I just don't understand how it is sustainable.
I think it is. It's very tiring as a reader, I have to say. I feel tired because I can't get through all the books I have. But so that nicely to a couple of questions, because I had one earlier when you mentioned your favorite sci-fi, is like which sci-fi books were kind of pivotal or influential for you, and which YA books were influential?
I feel like as a teen, I mostly read fantasy, and a lot of Australian fantasy, like Garth, Isobel Carmody, Paul Collins, Michael Pryor. But I was like one sci-fi series. No, that was also fantasy. So I feel like as a teen, I didn't really read a lot of sci-fi.
There can be a bit of slippage between those genres, though. Like Obernewtyn, Isabel Carmody's Obernewtyn books kind of straddle
true.
that.
Yeah,
that's
totally.
true.
Yeah, I still haven't read all of them. I think I read up to book 4.
Neither.
Like, they are so long. But in terms of sci-fi, well, recently, which is what I can remember, I've been reading the Murderbot books, which I really love.
I love those.
They're just like all the perfect length. I love a short genre book, and I think they do really well what I like, which is like small cast of characters. You know, there is the bigger plot, but I feel like they're all very close, which I really enjoy. I'm just going to look over at my bookshelf to be like, please.
Visual cues.
I always someone asked me a question about like what I liked to read, particularly when I was younger, or even now. I'm instantly like, oh,
blank. I know.
Yeah.
Lucky
Have
we
I
can
read
edit.
books?
We can edit out the quiet bits.
I don't know.
You're like, no, I can't read while sitting in front of a bookshelf.
No, not at all. Someone who I discovered at uni actually is Borges.
Yeah.
And I really like what he does, like he's so economical, and I think the way he can put such a huge idea in like half a page is so just like so impressive, and he does it so well, and it never feels like I never feel cheated by the length, you know. I always feel like he can do so much in so little, and then it feels very satisfying.
I love he's the one who wrote the one about the map, right? Where the map extends to cover the entire globe. So
I don't know if I've read that, but it
so
sounds
good.
very him.
It's amazing. So that it kind of plays with the idea of representations versus reality, and the map kind of papers over the world. It's amazing.
Yeah.
That like economical prose reminds me of one of the books that's referenced in Ida, Slaughterhouse 5, which does that remarkably well, being a very slim book, but so much is packed into it.
Another recent one, I did prep for the podcast, so I was like, oh, I have been meaning to read that for years. And now I have How You Lose a Time War, which I really liked the construction of the world where they never really explain anything. They're just like, they're time travelers. There's that, you know, figure it out. And I'm like, okay. But I feel like the trust in the reader in that is very well done.
I was wondering if we could talk a little bit about queer sci-fi in general, because this is Queer Sci-Fi Month on the podcast. And in an early episode, we talked about how there's increasingly more and more queer sci-fi, but shockingly little. There was shockingly little for a long time, in my opinion, because it's such a genre that's ripe for like exploring that speculative, exploring the messy spaces between what seems to be concrete definitions, or exploring different possibilities. What do you think like a queer lens, as both a reader and writer, brings to like sci-fi and speculative fiction?
I feel like it's maybe an interrogation of our world now, or our societies, because you know queerness is treated very differently around the world, and it's just kind of thinking about what for me, like what is true now, and how could we get to a world where it's where it's different. Like, I don't know. I don't think I'm quite expressing myself correctly. I guess one example might be like, I love Star Trek, but you can see like the biases of the time where they just haven't even thought about it, and they're reproduced in Star Trek. And it's sort of like, we could have changed that by then.
Yeah.
You'd hope, like you would sort of hope that, you know, misogyny had been destroyed in 500 years or whenever
it does seem to be remarkably resilient, that ideology.
Indeed. And I think it's a fun thought experiment, I guess, to be like, kind of to interrogate like, how is transphobia constructed? And so if in the future transphobia isn't a thing, why? Or like what happened? And then you can kind of apply that to now, where you're like, okay, well, if we know how it's constructed, then we know how to dismantle it. And I think that could be really powerful.
As you're talking, I realized I assumed Ida was female because Daisy is they, them. Is Ida she?
Yes,
good. I didn't know if I'd read that or assumed that. Because I catch myself all the time now being like, oh, wow, they're really deep-rooted, those assumptions. Like, it's amazing how you just fall into them even when you're trying not to.
Yes. And I think that comes out in the writing process as well, like in your first draft, where you're like, wow, I did not know that I still thought that somewhere, you know, even if it's very subconscious.
Yeah, because that's always struck me with Star Trek, that they were striving with a bunch of stuff, but queerness was actually something they came to very late. Like, queerness was one of the last kind of things they tackled almost. You know, like it took forever to get a female captain, but a queer captain, like...
Yes. Yeah. And, you know, some things they do really well, like DS9 is my favorite.
Yeah.
And I think, like, Cisco is such a great character. And I think they did a lot of things really well in DS9. But then it's also like, why is, like, two women kissing, like, such a big deal? Like they're worms. They're transgender worms. I don't know why this is shocking. Like, it's actually confusing to me why it's shocking. Yeah.
This is like when in sci-fi in general, and you encounter alien species, and they all have like what do they call it? Sexual dimorphism, humanoid. Like I was just like, it's interesting how even in imaginative spaces, people feel so constrained by like constructs of gender that,
especially when the animal world doesn't always have it. You know?
Yes.
There are a lot
our
of
world
trans
doesn't have
frogs
that,
out
so
there.
why do all the alien worlds have it? So is there anything, oh, actually, speaking on imagining into the future, my favorite book of yours is Highway Bodies, which I feel like it sits in that like apocalyptic moment and is both quite dark, but also there's like a lot of hope in there. How do you balance that when you're speculating into what these queer futures look like, balancing optimism and pessimism?
So Highway Buddies is a zombie apocalypse, if there's somehow a listener who has not read it. But I think it's just like me personally, I don't want to write something that is not hopeful in some way because I just kind of hate pessimism. I hate when people say like, oh, oh, the world's ending because of climate change. I'm like, no, it's like you don't have to let them win. Like,
I agree with this.
we can fight it, and you just giving in is what they want.
Yeah.
And so I feel like that reflects in my fiction, where it's like I think ultimately I am a hopeful person, and I think it's very important in young adult literature and children's literature to be like to kind of have that hope, because I feel I just remember this was like ages and ages ago. I was on a panel and someone was just like, well, what is the difference between adult and teen writing for you? And I feel like for me, the most important aspect of YA when I'm writing is hope in some form. And I think like you can go really far with that, like Vikki Wakefield's This Is How We Changed the Ending.
Yeah.
You're clinging onto that hope the whole book and you just don't know. I was just like, I don't know if it's going to happen. I don't know if he will change the ending. And I guess the spoiler is in the title. They do change the ending. But I think that is what YA for me is kind of about. And so kind of in a zombie apocalypse, you can't be 100% hopeful because
Yes.
pretty bad things are happening.
I work in sci-fi a lot, and this is so interesting because I'm circling a lot of these things a lot. And I often keep coming back to the idea of, well, you're here. This is what it is. And what are you going to do with it?
Yes,
and that feels
totally.
like that's when you're raising children, that's often the lessons you're having to teach them, right? Like, because children, we talked about this in YA month, go through real things. We act like children have this perfect idealized life, but they go through traumas, deaths, abuse, loss, all kinds of things that adults go through too. And really, well, what we're trying to give them through that hope is like, okay, what are you going to do with this? Like, you have a choice here of how, like you said, about changing the ending. So yeah, that's really interesting to hear you say that, because I think then the hope is about not so much about getting to a utopia, but about how do you positively contribute to this patch of the world you're in, which ties in with your point about your close relationships, that this is where you can have big ripple effects right here.
Yeah, because it's like you have one precious life, like and I think you always have a choice. I mean, this is very broad and is not actually true, but I'm going to say it anyway. You always have a choice to choose a good life for yourself, even if it's just like a tiny moment at a time. And so I think this is something that came up when I was writing this story for the Kindred anthology, which was like a Australian YA anthology where the theme was just like connection or community. And so I wrote a story set in the future where the oceans have risen quite a lot and life is like very tough, but there is still love in that world. And so how do you find that and how do you nurture it? Because even when terrible things are happening, like there are still good moments.
That leads me nicely into a question about another sort of creative avenue that you work in, which is zines, because you co-edit a zine called Long Trek of Speculative Fiction. And the first issue of that was about hope punk, which was a genre actually I'd sort of heard of but hadn't encountered very much. And I was wondering what your thoughts are on like what hope punk is. How do we bring a bit of hope punk into our spec fic and our sci-fi? And what was it about hope punk that made you want to take that on as your first Long Trek project?
So Long Trek I edit with Rafif Ismail, who lives in Burloo in Perth. And I actually think it was Rafif's idea to do Hope Punk. And I was like, yeah, great, let's do that. Because I think, again, I just find it interesting to see how people can take something that is not, take like a living situation that is not good and turn it into something where there could be a brighter future, even if it's just by a tiny, tiny little bit. And I think especially now where so much bad stuff is happening, I'm really interested in just seeing ways in which things can be better, or even just moments can be better. And I know you're not supposed to have favorites, but I do really like Sasha Stronach's short story from that issue, because I think when I imagined Hope Punk, I was like, I think this is what it is, which you can read for free at longtrek.xyz. And I think she tweeted about it, or blue skeeted about it. Where she was like,
Blues clues it.
We're blues cluesing it, people. That's the new thing. But where she talked about hope is a bloody thing with teeth, I think.
Oh, that's nice.
And I was like,
Which
yeah,
doesn't
like you.
preclude it having feathers.
Yeah, that's
Exactly.
right.
Exactly right. But I think like hope is you have to fight for it all the time, I think. And it's so easy to give in to despair. And I think hope is kind of an active choice.
I think what you said earlier too is like that is despair is a tool of oppression, right? And so the active choice is just choosing to resist, like not because I thought that was powerful, because it is something they do deliberately to try and make us feel like there's nothing you can do. But of course, there's always something you can do,
even if it's very small.
Yes. Can I ask what your writing day looks like, or your week, or your month, or your year? Because as someone who doesn't write every day, and when people ask me that, I'm like, well, some days I'm doing nothing.
Some days I'm definitely doing nothing. Well, at the moment, I've just finished studying a grad dip in library science, and so
The real job, huh?
the real job, because I already work in libraries, but I would like to be a librarian, and so I did that, and it was just the hardest thing I've ever done in my whole life. It was only a year, but it kind of just took over everything, because I also work 2 casual jobs.
That's a lot.
It's a lot. You're studying full time. You're working 4 to 6 days a week. It's a lot. And most of my study I didn't write. And I found that really, really hard. So I'm trying to now get back into the process, which so far kind of looks like once a month I have a day that I set aside and I write. That's my sacred writing day. And I label it as such in my calendar, that it's sacred, and don't make any plans. And I'm not allowed to do chores on that day. So that's kind of what I'm trying to do. I would really like to be one of those people who wakes up at terrible morning o'clock time.
I wish I could do that.
But
I find that so unrealistic. Anytime I'm doing like an interview, listening to an interview, and the author's like, I wake up at 5 a.m., I have my coffee and a run, and then I sit down to write all day. I'm like, okay.
Yeah. Well, the people with full-time jobs who are like, I get up at 4 and I write between 5 and 6, and then I get the kids ready for school. It's like, I just would be killing people. Like there's not enough coffee in the world.
Yeah.
I feel like it takes me a full hour after waking up to become like a fully sentient being. Like I'm just a meat puppet at that point. Like I'm not doing anything.
I feel like you two are night owls though. You'd write a lot at night. Are you a night person, Alison?
I used to be. That's how I wrote Ida. I remember, because I used to get really scared at night sometimes, where I'd be like, I have to go to the toilet, but I don't want to see my doppelganger in the hallway.
That's good. Yeah, writers' imaginations.
They are scary. Like in the premise of the book, I'm like, oh, like seeing an image of yourself can't be that scary. And then like the one that sits down next to Ida at the train station and grins.
Yeah.
I was like, oh no. Oh
it's the grin.
Yeah.
It was the grin that got me.
So yes, I would be scared to go to the toilet and face the reflection of you that doesn't move the way it should.
Yeah, when Ida's coming out and the hair, she's got her bed hair and she sees her reflection, she's like smooth it down and the other one doesn't. I'm like, oh yeah, that's my nightmare at night. going out to a
Yeah.
room with lots of windows, and I'm like, no, this is
It's
Yeah,
not
that was
good.
one of the moments where I was like, oh, this would really freak me out watching this in a film. Like, it feels like I'm watching
Mm.
watching this scene.
Yes, yeah. I feel like, yeah, so I guess I don't write, I don't know if it's horror, it's scary.
yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
don't really write scary things at the moment, so I can write at nighttime now. But because I work my jobs are both casual, and so my day is quite varied, so I do
Yeah.
kind of have to wake up early. But I find I just take little moments. Like one of my jobs, I get the V line 2, which is the regional train in Victoria, and so they're quite spacious, and you get a little laptop table. So I write on those. I can't really write on the metro trains because they're very squished, and then people can see my screen, and I'm like,
Yeah, I hate
no,
that.
I'm so
Yeah,
embarrassed.
yeah. Don't look at me.
Yeah, so I'm just trying to like carve out little times where I can, and then have my big day kind of at the end of the month to kind of get stuck in properly. But I'm still kind of figuring it out. I'm kind of hoping that once I have one job that I will be able to get into a routine, but
They
it's a
always
bit tricky.
fluctuate, I think. They're just always fluctuating at different points in your life. Like they just
Yeah.
change all the time. But yeah, a routine would be good. I'm not a routine person, so I wish.
I find I always want to when I write, I just want to be totally immersed only in writing whatever I'm working on.
Yeah.
And it's really galling that that's just not reality.
Yeah.
I know.
That I have to keep stepping out to live
Yes.
the rest of my life.
Yeah, it's rude. It's quite rude. I did have a 3-day block at the end of April, and I got to say, that was like life-changing. I had a severe come down after that.
Yeah.
I find if you move to a new location, like I just walked to the library and I just wrote at the library because you can't do chores at the library because it's
Yeah. Yeah. No one's gonna like distract you. No one's like, you want a
yeah.
cup of tea, you want a coffee, you want to just chat
Yeah.
about whatever's happening.
Yeah, put a load on, yeah.
Do you have a favorite? So the library at the moment, have you had various
Mm.
favorite spots to write?
I used to go to cafes a lot, but I don't really go to cafes anymore.
The library's nice because it doesn't feel like there's pressure there. Like when I'm at a cafe, this might just be a me thing. I'm always like, I haven't, like purchased enough to be here as long as I
Yes.
have filling up space. Whereas at the library, I'm like, this is the purpose of being here.
Exactly. I like the library because when you walk in the door, you're giving them stats and then they get more funding. And whereas a cafe, I don't know, I got a takeaway the other day and it was $5.20. And I was like, I can't afford to
Yeah.
do this.
Yeah.
Do you have a specific project that you're working on at the moment, Alison, when you do find those times to write? Is there something that you're working towards that you can share?
I don't have any contracts, so I'm currently, I don't know what's going to be next, but with my big 3 days a couple months ago, I finished a draft of an adult novel, which is about a shapeshifter and a selkie.
Oh, cool.
It's pretty cool. And then the thing I'm working on at the moment is a YA. It's a verse novel, which I've never done before. And it's also contemporary, so it's not genre. So it's like a double thing that I've never done before. But it's quite fun. I think because I haven't done it before, and so I don't really know if it's good. And I find that like very freeing. I think kind of going back to like when I was writing Ida, I was like, there's no audience, whereas now there is an audience.
It's me. I'm there lying
Yeah.
in my
Justina's pre-ordering it all.
Just like at the window. Like, I look over, you're
Hey.
I'm the person
Sitting
behind
next
you
to
on
you
the
at the train
metro,
station, grinning.
Yeah, so yeah, I'm working on, and I'm kind of chipping away at a short story collection as well, which is for adults, which is I kind of envisioned it as cli-fi, but now it's kind of capitalism and climate fiction, because I was sort of like, capitalism and climate change are kind of the same thing.
Yeah,
I'm just going to
hard to
use
pull them apart.
I'm just going to use this to spruik something, and I'm probably going to get the date wrong. But in September, I'm actually coming to University of Melbourne with my colleague at Uni Melbourne, Rachel Hennessy, and Alex Cosper from Flinders, and we're actually running a writers' cli-fi lab, which so I'll forward it to you because you might like to come. It's free, and it's a full day with writers exploring those ideas of hope and optimism and climate and future. So yeah,
I'm there.
They all sound amazing, by the way. I specifically really want to read the Selkie one.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Next month is zine month. I'm pretty sure that's the next month.
Yep.
And because you're so active in zine making, and we're talking about future projects, is there more big horse zine on the horizon? For those who don't know what big horse zine is, because I'm not sure whether peek behind the curtain, we've already recorded our first zine month episode, and I don't remember if I brought it up or not. So could you give us a bit of context on the big horse zine as well?
Yeah. So I wanted to make a zine about a book that I found in the bookshop that was called Pony with a Secret, A Dream Come True.
Oh, that's just so evocative already.
Yeah. And well, that was actually the title as I misread it. It was actually called A Pony Called Secret. So the pony's name
yours
was
is
Secret.
better. Yours is
And
way
then I
better.
was like, well, exactly. I was like, well, what kind of secrets does a pony have? Like, what are you talking about? And so I was like, I should make a zine about that. And then I kind of realized that even though I was a horse girl as growing up, I mean, I still am, and that's gender neutral. I only know how to draw one angle of a horse. And so if I were to make the zine, all my horses would look the same. And so I was like, well, I better ask some other people to draw some horses for me. And so I did. I put the call out on Instagram, and my friends sent me horses, and I put them all in a row. It's like a concertina zine, so it's very long. It was 3.2 meters long, I think. So that's what I did 3 years in a row. The first one was Pony with a Secret. The second one was
I think it was Two Pony.
Yeah, Two Pony, Too Furious.
No wonder Justina loves this.
Well, Two Pony, Two Zine, I think is what it was actually called. And then Pony 3 was Ponies in Space. And I guess the only reason I haven't done a new one is because it's very labor intensive to make. Each zine takes about 10 minutes to construct, and I usually make about 50 of them. So that's a lot of zine making. And I have a bad back.
Crafting is laborious, okay?
Well, yeah.
Maybe you just need to have a short pony book when you
True, we can make small
Miniature
ponies.
small pony
Yeah.
tiny.
Oh, that would be
really funny.
Oh, yeah. You're right. Oh my God. Maybe that can be next year's pony zine. I think I started making zines in 2013 around then, because I went to an Emerging Writers Fest panel because my friend wanted to go, and it was a self-publishing panel, and one of the people was a zine maker, and I just really liked how you can see the maker in the zine. Like quite often there'll be like, like smudged ink, or you can see where someone's written something and then they scribble it out and write something else. And I like how they're so DIY and they can kind of be anything. I think my favorite zines are the ones where you can see a lot of the maker in them. I think that's such a zine thing. Like I think it's quite specific to zines where you can just make it, and you can just put it out, and you can make one, you can make 10, and you can make 100. I just think they're so cool. I really like zines.
We're all going to be making our own for July.
Oh, cool. Nice.
I'm excited to have a craft day at Amy's house.
Nice.
We'll spread out. I'll put the coffee on it. It's going to be way better than writing my book.
Yeah.
I think we're just about out of time, unfortunately. Do you guys have last questions for Alison?
I have so many questions about Ida, but I fear they would all be
spoilers.
Yeah. I'm like, we got to save some Ida chat for the actual book club episode.
Yeah,
true.
Do you ever feel like you want to revisit characters, or are they totally standalone? Do you like kiss them goodbye and move on?
Normally I don't. I do feel like there's time travel stories about Damaris and Goth.
That was one of my questions. I was like, surely there's like a revisit there.
Surely.
So much lore behind that Ida's unaware of and therefore doesn't make it into the book.
Well, I did write a novel where Damaris was a main character. Actually, both of them were main characters, which I wrote it in a NaNoWriMo like in 2015 or something, which I've never redrafted. I haven't read it since then. And I'm like, maybe it's publishable. I don't know. But I do have I have plans for them, but I haven't enacted on them,
Yeah.
I think. And normally I don't, like, I've never felt an urge otherwise with any other characters. They're the only two that
Yeah.
I've sort of thought that about. My wife really likes Eve in Highway Bodies, and she's like, write an Eve novel. And I'm like,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
just don't want to.
That one's done.
Yeah, I feel like, yeah, their stories are finished, and I don't really feel otherwise.
Invite her to write a zine about Eve.
True. Nice.
Oh, thank you so much for joining us. I'm sure we'll have you back when the next book's out and Justina's like, there's the book for us. But yeah, I think we would love to have you back if you'd love to come back.
Yeah.
It's been such a pleasure. I cannot wait to talk about these guys. So for those of you who haven't yet read it, Alison Evans' Ida, it is amazing. Like, I just started it. And I read the half like in 2 days, and then I had to
read
put
it
it down
last night and couldn't put it down.
I had to stop because my book is due tomorrow, and I was like, I cannot. And I was sitting there this morning. I was like, you just can't read another word until the book's sent. But it's such a good book, and I think everyone's gonna love it. So read along with us, and in next week, I think it's next week, we're talking about the book. But thank you so much for joining us, and we'll see you again soon, Alison.
Yeah. Thanks so
thank you.
much. It was really fun.
Seriously, you two are nailing the choices this year. I loved To Shape a Dragon's Breath, and this is amazing.
I loved it.
Amazing.
Yeah, I feel like Ida raises so many questions that left me asking those questions of myself constantly afterward, which I like. I say constantly, as I said, I read it last night, but I couldn't.
Yeah.
I've been thinking it since. So
I think it was such a, like, the things that grabbed me were in such an economical and kind of subtle way. There's this opening up of all these ideas of, like, you know, like you mentioned law, Abby, but seriously, there's like one line and suddenly my imagination is like flying through all the possibilities that are happening here. And I was like, that's such a clever thing to do. And the same with the relationships. Like, the sketches are so finely drawn that they've managed to create this whole sense of backstory and complications and relationships with just a line or two. Like, so well done.
Yeah, that's stuck out to me as well, that these feel like fully fledged characters with these deep connections to each other. If you're just looking at on the page, it's really in quite a short amount of space that you get invested in those relationships.
Yeah,
I agree with Amy that one scene where Daisy and Ida just lie out under the tree in the yard with tea and like fall asleep on the lawn, that really solidified that relationship for me, and then now I really care.
And such a quiet moment, like such a tiny quiet moment. I like the way the cat's always at the window. These little moments that just are like these anchor points in time that keep her anchored in the moments. Yeah, anyway, great book. Get your copies, guys. This is going to be a really fun conversation. And we'll see everyone next week for Book Club.
Bye.
Thanks, Abby. Thanks, Justina.
Is hosted by Amy Matthews, Abby Guy, Peyton Hogan, Justina Ashman, Harry Stewart and Lily Heffernan. This podcast is recorded on Gardenland with music by Anthony Wignall and Mass Wisteria. Our logos and branding are designed by Abby Guy. This episode was edited by Justina Ashman.